That's the only research I've done.
So the first breaking news up, and probably the biggest story of them all, is even the English now are wading in and they're saying that this is like 1995. This is the moment where we must have the global game. 1995 is when it turned professional after Joan Lomu shook the world. Literally, because it was so.
But also, I tell you what, for all England's faults and whatever, they've finally got on board, haven't they?
They have. The only problem is that they haven't given the memo to their clubs, and neither have the French.
No.
So basically, now as it stands, we've got the Irish who want to go global game.
Yeah.
We've got the Welsh who want to go global game. We've got the English who want to go global game. Obviously, the whole of the Southern Hemisphere want to go global game.
That, yeah.
But no one's told the French and English Premiership clubs in the top 14, they've got to get them behind, and they're now saying no. And this is what we were talking about last week.
So Premiership Rugby and then the French top 14 or Pro 13, whatever it is.
Yeah, top 14, yeah.
They don't want to borrow it.
They're saying, well, no, because it's going to directly affect them, and they want to make as much money as possible. They want as many games as possible. They're like, no, it's not going to happen.
Why would it hinder their money? Surely the global game will bring more money in.
The global game bring more money to world rugby and to the national sides,
right?
But it's not going to bring more.
Oh, sorry, right? Yeah. I'm on the same page.
In saying that, you get a lot of money if your players play for. Like, let's say I'm a Saracens and I've got, pretty much my whole squad playing for England.
Yes.
Then you get a lot of money from England for those players to be released.
Of course, yeah.
And the British Lions. In fact, Mara Itoje, it was going to make more financial sense for Saracens to keep him because he'll get paid a lot from England and a lot from the British Lions.
Yeah.
Wasn't worth offloading his fee.
No, true.
So it just shows how much they do end up paying.
Yeah.
The next breaking news is the old Swing Low Sweet Chariot is up and people are saying no.
Yeah, but who are these people? It's bloody former hookers.
Yeah.
Brian Moore.
Brian Moore, right?
Come on.
Former hookers. That's a different podcast altogether, mate. Just go on there. He is an interesting guy. I think he's just using this to sort of get a Twitter
bit of publicity.
Publicity. The interesting thing about this is I've done a bit of research into this, and I understand.
Is that him there cheering?
That's him cheering, mate. Yeah.
God, he's an ugly bugger, isn't he?
He is an ugly bugger. Yeah. He's got a good lockdown do in that picture I've provided right there. I just think it's very, very interesting that this particular song. Now, the roots of the song is actually.
I really like it.
Well, it was written by a slave who was freed from slavery. So without even realizing,
what else would he be freed from?
but it's really interesting because there doesn't seem to be any. I mean, apart from the slavery part that he wrote a song about being free from slavery, and I suppose no one singing it in England knew what it was.
No, that's true.
But the only other people that tried to ban this song were the Nazis. That's interesting, isn't it?
Wow.
So I just hope that political correctness doesn't get the better of us here, because it's not a song celebrating slavery.
Is that why it's come up? Because of all, Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, and I think actually, to be fair to the RFU, they've done a great job.
And slavery and all that sort of thing. Making
sure that, that it's spoken about.
Yeah.
Because it brings publicity to that movement.
So what should the chant be now? Roses are red, violets are blue.
I don't
That's
like England.
That's why England smells like poo. We've got two there. Brian, you come to us, mate, and we'll give you some information.
Oh, yeah, but it's just interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. And as someone put on another podcast, and I won't publicise anyone else's podcast. It's
just the Super Rugby podcast.
Yeah. The grandson of the person that wrote that song.
Right.
Knowing that it's still sung today at Twickenham every week in front of 85,000 people, probably fills them with a bit of pride.
You'd think so.
You do need to think about that type of thing as well. But it's good that it's spoken about, because by speaking about it, it means that
there's a bit more awareness. Because
right.
I didn't know what it meant.
No, neither did I. And that's why I've looked into it, and it doesn't seem like there's anything untoward, behind the song.
Right. Yeah.
You've got the next story
Yes,
up.
I do.
Though.
So an NFL player. Okay, his name is
Mr. King.
Mr. King. We'll call him Mr. King.
Why are you calling him Mr. King?
No, you
Tobes?
called him Mr. King.
No, but why are you pausing and then you allowed me to call him Mr. King and you said, yeah, we'll call him Mr. King?
Because I can't actually find his name to try and pronounce it. Oh, here we go. Marquette King?
Marquette King, yes.
Marquette King. Why don't you just spell it Market? Anyway, that's for another conversation. He has come out and said, his tweet, and I'm quoting, "If I played rugby, I would dominate it easily." Now,
name another NFL player that's dominated rugby easy.
I'm not sure any have converted from NFL to rugby, but I know a few that have converted from rugby to NFL, the likes of, Jared Hayne. Did you know that John Olomu once got approached by NFL?
I could imagine that. He would have been a hell of an NFL player.
Also Wade, he's an English boy,
Christian
wasn't he?
Wade, yeah. No one's really... I know there's been some kickers. Some kickers have done it.
Yes,
some punters have done it.
Scottish boy, Gillen.
Yeah, Jamie.
I think it's Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie Gillen. Yeah. From Murchison Castle.
Yes.
Where Zach Mercer and Stanford McDowell.
Yes, that's right.
Also went, yes.
We also work with Zach's father. Anyway, so this NFL bloke, Mr. King, is actually a kicker.
Okay, so he's a kicker.
So he would
have to
could
dominate rugby. I don't think
he would
he
have
could.
to learn how to tackle, because kickers do not tackle.
No.
He would have to learn how to run the game, because kickers in the NFL game do not at all. They just kick and then run off. Yeah, there's no point wearing a helmet, but yeah. Anyway, so that's sort of what he's come out with.
He doesn't look like a kicker there, does he?
No, not at all. He looks actually quite a scary bloke.
I'm not going to disagree with him now after looking at his picture.
Yeah, so that's his claim.
I'd love to see it. Now, why do you think there hasn't been more NFL players moving to rugby?
Because they don't get to wear pads.
Because there's no money.
They get paid.
They get paid huge amounts in the NFL, don't they?
See, he's now playing for XFL, which is a tier below NFL. So that's probably why he's sort of making those claims that hopefully a club will be like, well, go on. We'll take you up on that.
Where I think there's a huge crossover and potential is obviously the sevens.
Yes.
Huge crossover potential.
But you don't need a kicker.
No, but
unless he's absolutely rapid.
Yeah, I'm guessing he is. Because, it's either a really naive comment, which is quite possible, or he's got some skills to pay those bills and he can kick.
We should actually look him up, shouldn't we?
The next one there, mate, is the Leon McDonald turning the Blues into the Crusaders.
Well, just because the Blues have won two games in a row. To be fair, they did have a good start to the Super Rugby, as in the old version, not the Aotearoa version. So
yes, he's
got a long way to go.
Do you know where I think he? Okay, so the Blues traditionally have had the talent,
yes,
but not the belief.
Well, it's more the city that doesn't really have the belief.
The players, mate. The players.
Do you think so?
Yeah, the players.
Surely the players go, they're professional athletes.
Nah, mate, trust me. The players never believed they could win.
I very rarely trust you, and this is another time where I'm not going to trust you.
Wasn't it? I mean, you look at their team last year, they had the talent.
Yeah, they had the talent.
Great example of they had the talent, they didn't have the belief in key moments. But what they've done, what Leon's done is, he's actually introduced some old heads, some really experienced players to that group. Joe Marchant, an international player, parachuted young international player. Dan Carter coming in now, although he's not playing that much. Even Tana Umaga being the backs coach, the defensive coach, I think he is. And then you've got Bowden Barrett. I mean, you don't get much more experienced and world class than that. And then Patrick, Big Patrick.
Oh, how good has he been?
He's been amazing.
Yeah.
They've got dynamism.
Yeah. They've got speed. They've got size.
So it's great for New Zealand rugby because a lot of Auckland boys going off to high school who might have been thinking about possibly playing a bit of league, maybe possibly moving another part of the country, can now play rugby and think, I'm going to be part of a great franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. I think it's building the fans back up as well. They're actually winning.
Well, you know that first game?
Yeah.
You know that crowd?
Yeah.
That was the biggest crowd that Super Rugby's pulled in 15 years.
Ridiculous, eh?
That's including finals.
Yeah.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Also,
so is he turning them into the Crusaders? So you think the Crusaders traditionally have got, they're not just going to win this year, they're going to win the next year and the next year.
The thing with the Crusaders is that the Crusaders have had the talent, but they've also been able to kick on. The Blues have had the talent, but they haven't been able to kick on, and maybe we're seeing that slowly getting the best out of their international...
Do you know what the Crusaders have done well over many, many years is they've recruited players who others have let go. Guys like Bryn Hall.
Yeah, true.
Auckland let go of Bryn Hall.
Yeah.
And then he becomes the next season the best scrum half in the Super Rugby competition.
Bryn Hall was also at the Hurricanes.
He's
before.
Bloody good player.
Yeah, I like him. Good pass.
Great pass. And he's a dynamo, isn't he?
Yeah.
He adds something to the game. Really good interview.
Do we think that England players, the ones that from Saracens and all that sort of thing, and now that COVID has sort of taken over Europe, they should come and play in Super Rugby? They're not playing any rugby in England.
Oh, you mean like now?
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, it's too late.
And I tell you the reason why, because the only club that they could possibly go to would be Highlanders, because they really probably felt like they needed the players.
Well, hey, but they won.
I know, but Tony Brown, being the coach there, is so pro the players that he's got.
Yeah.
He works with the players that he got. He doesn't try and, sort of bring in others.
Yeah, true.
And what would be the gain to have an English player? I see the reason why they Blues have got Joe Marchant, because Joe Marchant brings the defensive side to the Blues, his knowledge from the defence.
Yeah.
But they're not playing him. They're just
not
using him for their, to their benefit rather than to play him for his benefit, which I don't think's right. I would love to see Joe Marchant playing on the weekend.
Yeah.
And getting his first run out for this competition. But yeah, the Blues, I think that he's on his way, but there's a long way to go. Crusaders, to be like the Crusaders, you have to be like them for 10 years.
Yeah. You
can't just do it willy-nilly for a year. But, we've seen them, haven't we? We've seen them get better and better under Leon.
Yes.
And Leon obviously was part of that, that Crusaders dynasty where I think he won 3 titles for the Crusaders. So that's pretty impressive.
He was all right. He just ruined his head, didn't he?
Too many concussions,
Too many head injuries, yeah. So, Kurtley Beale.
He's off, mate.
He's off. Away from the Waratahs, and he is going to Russing.
Russing 92. Great backline he's going to.
Oh, my gosh. Fire.
Yeah, absolute fire.
Scottish fly half, he's there, isn't he?
Yeah, Irish winger, fullback, Zebo, Simon Zebo.
Oh, I like him. He's quite an old boy, isn't he, actually?
Yeah, he's been around, hasn't he?
Well, when I say old, he's probably only my age.
Still pretty old. He's not my age. That's absolutely ancient.
Yeah. Good on Kurtley. He's chasing the money, isn't he? And
he's getting on, isn't he? He's not going to make another World Cup cycle.
No,
but he is available for the Wallabies because he's obviously played over the caps.
Yes, yeah.
That you need to go back. So might be someone that Dave Rennie will use a little bit of.
Well, he might use,
he's a loose cannon, isn't he?
He's a loose cannon, but he'd be all right coming off the bench a little bit in... he's got a lot of caps.
Over the next couple of years.
He's got a lot of caps for the Wallabies. He's quite experienced. He's quite level-headed sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Until he goes to the bar after the game. And then apparently he's not so level-headed after that.
Yeah, but on the pitch, they're all worried about the pitch. Simon
Zebo is another one that enjoys a beer or two. So it could be fire on and off the pitch.
Jeez. Right, match reviews. What do we think of the first game? Blues versus Chiefs, half-time.